As the new arc in the Dragon Ball Super manga kicks off Moro vs Vegeta, what secrets does Moro possess that could pose a great danger to Goku and Vegeta? With Moro aiming to resurrect his magic and powers, will our heroes have enough power to defeat such a complicated enemy, or will the aid of Beerus be what's needed to finish off the story? With Beerus being kept away from any main battle or story, would this be the perfect time to bring Beerus into saving his universe from the Planet Eater Moro? On today's video, we discuss the possibility of Beerus' involvement against Moro and why this would be the ideal scenario that needs to take place in the Dragon Ball Super manga next. So with Dragon Ball Super manga chapter number 45 on the horizon, many fans within the Dragon Ball community are seemingly begging the question as to what is the overall direction for Moro going to be once he does inevitably cross paths with Goku and Vegeta in battle, and especially after realizing what his wish could potentially be, and with Moro having to be very depleted on energy and very old, what does this mean going forward for the Moro character as we enter the brand new manga chapter? And especially for the arc itself, what is going to be the overall direction for our heroes in order to combat someone like Moro, who is unlike anyone they've ever faced before? And to this, I do propose the idea of both Goku and Vegeta losing to Moro if the concept of Ultra Instinct Goku returning in the Dragon Ball Super manga is not executed once more. And the reason why I say this is because in Dragon Ball Super manga chapter number 44, while on board a spaceship, Moro goes on to tell his assisting pilots, "In my time away, life has managed to grow and spread throughout the universe. Scanning alone has taken me to my limit. My magical abilities are in a pathetic state. It was my good fortune to have even an ounce of magic to return to me before my life expired, and it allowed me to break free of that wretched cage." Now we also know that Moro does in fact have a wish in mind, and by using the Namekian Dragon Balls, they are able to grant 3 wishes, one of which Moro wants to make due to his overwhelming desire, while the other one was handed to his pilot. The third wish is unknown, and I really do prognosticate that Moro is going to end up killing the pilot, having to take all 3 of the wishes for himself, in which later on we get to carry out the battle between Vegeta and Moro, as we witness Moro be able to contest against Vegeta no problem. Even though Vegeta is using Super Saiyan God, it's very impressive to see how Moro, who is in a very depleted state in terms of power, is still able to compete against Super Saiyan God Vegeta, even going as far as by the end revealing to Vegeta that in fact he will show Vegeta a taste of his magical abilities. Now where do we go with this concept going forward? I do propose the idea of both Goku and Vegeta having to lose the battle against Moro, allowing Moro to make his wish, restoring his magic and abilities to being at full power, which then gives us more of a purpose in seeing an outside entity or presence having to emerge, assisting Goku and Vegeta in their apprehension attempt in capturing Moro. And one of the only other characters or concepts I can think of in introducing in this manga chapter in order to develop a deeper establishment for his character, unlike how we've seen before, is by introducing the concept of Beerus. Now why is it that I want to propose the idea of Beerus having to be the one to stop Moro in comparison to Goku and Vegeta? Well, Goku and Vegeta have had their spotlight and moments for several arcs prior to Moro's introduction. We've seen Goku and Vegeta shine in Dragon Ball Super Broly, we've seen Goku and Vegeta shine in the Tournament of Power, we've seen them shine against Goku Black and Zamasu, including Merge Zamasu, we've seen them shine against Hit and the Universe 6 competitors during the Universe 6 vs Universe 7 battle, including Resurrection of F and Battle of Gods. And unlike Battle of Gods, Beerus was one of the many few characters showcased in Dragon Ball Super that has never been utilized or executed to their fullest potential. And if there was ever a time to introduce the character of Beerus having to step in not for the sake of protecting or helping Goku and Vegeta, but for the namesake of defending himself as a destroyer and understanding the fact that there is an entity that threatens his very position, gives Beerus more of a reason to step in and intervening with Moro's plans and having to defeat him fully by the end of the arc. Which also can go as far as to develop Beerus as a character, being that we've never seen Beerus try or use his full power since his inception and debut in Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods / Dragon Ball Super. Now, the concept behind Moro having to fight Goku and Vegeta shouldn't really be as complicated or convoluted as many people would look at it. As an example, you could always introduce the concept of Super Saiyan God Goku and Super Saiyan God Vegeta fighting off against Moro before restoring his full power, which then can go as far as Goku and Vegeta using Super Saiyan Blue as their trump cards to put Moro down, but Super Saiyan Blue at this point has become the default standard for Goku and Vegeta. Just like in Dragon Ball Z, how we've seen Super Saiyan 1 basically become the norm, Super Saiyan Blue has become the norm for both Goku and Vegeta. And unless they harness in using a greater power than Super Saiyan Blue, I could see the same result happening as we've seen with Zamasu, Jiren, and Broly, Super Saiyan Blue having to be completely outclassed and decimated during the course of battle. And unless they somehow incorporate the concept of Super Saiyan Blue Evolution or Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, then both Goku and Vegeta at this current point in time stand no chance in defeating Moro, which goes back to the concept of Beerus. What is the point of Beerus in Dragon Ball Super anymore? Beerus is one of the most captivating yet most interesting characters to ever be introduced in the show, yet at the same time, he does nothing as a character to further develop himself, improving his worth as a god of destruction. Since Battle of Gods, since the Universe 6 vs Universe 7 tournament, ever since Beerus battled against Goku within the Monaka suit, Beerus from that current point in time was never shown to even spar with Goku, let alone having to be shown fighting in Dragon Ball Super, minus the God of Destruction battle that we've seen during the Zen exhibition match in the Dragon Ball Super manga. In the show, we've seen nothing be demonstrated from Beerus. Other than him having to Hakai Zamasu, that was one of the only times we've seen a glimmer of what Beerus can do, and since then, he's done nothing. So what a better way to introduce the character of Beerus than having him be required in being there to destroy an entity that threatens his very position in being the destroyer of the 7th universe. If Moro looks at the concept of other beings and entities and life forms having to expand within the universe as something of an egregious act, then what a way to have Beerus step in if the essential role of destruction is given to Beerus and Beerus only. It would not only give Beerus a role and motive to actually be active in the Dragon Ball Super universe, but also it gets to allow us to see further as to what Beerus is capable of, especially fighting against a demonic opponent such as Moro, who is able to not only consume and harness energy of his own, but steal, eat, and consume the energy of other life forms as seen due to his overwhelming track record of having to kill off and consume trillions. And by that statement, we can understand how Goku was able to pick up on Moro's ki and having to describe it as lots of people having to scream in utter agony. And it's no secret by now that Moro is the Baphomet of the Dragon Ball Super universe. He is the Satan of the Dragon Ball Super universe, and as biblical references go, Satan is a very powerful adversary, especially when looking at religion. And when having to reflect on Dragon Ball Super, if Moro is supposed to be the Satan of the story, then what a way to have him be a very formidable opponent in having him not only step on and beating down Goku and Vegeta, but also fighting off against one of the strongest characters, if not the most powerful in the 7th universe, that of course having to be none other than the Destroyer himself. You could always have the concept of Moro versus Beerus result in such a way to where Beerus ends up Hakaiing Moro completely instead of having to apprehend him once more due to the only fact that he could end up escaping once more just as he did prior for being locked up for 10 million years. And especially if you don't want to take that gamble again, why keep someone like that around when inevitably down the road, millions of years perhaps after his inevitable escape, he might do the same thing again. And even when looking at that time period, Goku and Vegeta are most certainly not going to be around, which in turn begs the question, who is going to stop Moro then if he ends up being apprehended and escapes once more down the line? The only other considerable factor in this scenario would be Beerus if they don't end up using Ultra Instinct Goku, in which I will be discussing the concept of Ultra Instinct Goku versus Moro in a separate video, but I also do believe that Beerus would be the best route to go in, especially if Moro demonstrates that Super Saiyan Blue and anything above that is simply child's play in comparison to his resurrected power, which only then, if the situation escalates out of hand, could give Beerus more of a reason to put the fire out and having to handle this situation if it not only threatens the very existence of the universe that he presides in, but also the title of him having to be a destroyer. It's never once confirmed anywhere in the Dragon Ball Super lore that any god of destruction is immune from death. So of course, at some given point, we can only speculate and assume that Beerus' reign, despite however long it's going to be, at some point will come to an end. So while Beerus is still in the position of being the god of destruction of the 7th universe, I think would be more than fitting in seeing what he could do against an opponent who is not only able to consume energy, but seemingly enough is also very wise in his approach, being that he also has been around for a very long time. And thus far, it would be very cliche to have Goku and Vegeta either apprehend or kill Moro. Being that they've been involved in the entire Dragon Ball Super story thus far, it would really be refreshing to see something new come about if the Grand Kaioshin within Majin Buu isn't executed in playing a role in Moro's capture. If of course Majin Buu and the Daikaio are not going to be fully executed in this manga chapter in Moro's apprehension, then the next best alternative to add into the story would be to have Goku and or Vegeta, or by the assistance of Whis, request Beerus to handle the situation. Beerus at this given point in time has done nothing, let alone even have his rematch against Goku, seeing as to how Goku has gotten so much more powerful since the debut of Battle of Gods. So what a way to give Beerus a reason to be motivated than to put down a problem in which Goku and Vegeta can't handle on their own. Now to be fair, I think that both Goku and Vegeta are going to put up a decent to fair fight against Moro, but keep in mind right now, Moro is limited to his power and magic. Being that he's been in prison for 10 million years, and being that he only has a small fraction of his magic left, he is still currently able to go up against Super Saiyan God Vegeta while smiling in his face. Now you can only imagine if this was Moro at his fullest without having to worry about the depletion of his energy or magic during the course of this battle. And if Moro is able to compete against God Vegeta so easily of a fraction of his original power, then you can only imagine how powerful he would be once he does have his resurrected powers intact, which only then means if they're not going to go with Ultra Instinct, another source has to be introduced. And for me, I would like to see Beerus more involved because ever since the God of Destruction battle during the Zen Exhibition match, we saw firsthand what Beerus was capable of doing in fighting off against the other 11 destroyers, in which, may I add, was one of the greatest battles that we've seen in the Dragon Ball Super manga, and that's Beerus having to handicap himself against the other gods of destruction. And to some, although they might say that Beerus would easily be able to defeat Moro at this current point in time, we still don't know what Moro is capable of, nor how powerful Moro truly is in comparison to people like Goku, Vegeta, Broly, Jiren, and even Beerus. He could theoretically end up being a complete weakling, or he could by theory end up being the strongest villain we've ever seen in the Dragon Ball universe. It all varies as to what kind of direction and plan they have for Moro going forward, but he is the main focus point of the newest arc for the Dragon Ball Super manga, in which thus, I don't think they're going to write off Moro that easily unless Moro threatens the very existence of the 7th universe itself once he does inevitably have his magic and powers restored to him, or even his youth if that's going to be his second wish. Then Moro by far is going to be one of the greatest threats that Universe 7 has faced in a very long time, if any ever. But for that to happen, Moro is going to have to be written in such a way to where Goku and Vegeta have absolutely no chance of defeating him, especially if he gains all of his magic and powers back after making the wish that he wants to make. Even though all in all I think that Beerus should be the main deciding factor of this arc, leading into something more down the line and building up more of the Beerus character than how we've seen previously, because let's be honest, Beerus in Dragon Ball Super has become a joke. He's done nothing, he's acted upon nothing, he's had no solid role following the events of the Zamasu story other than yelling at Goku, being a babysitter to Bola during Dragon Ball Super Broly, and eating food and delicious treats and laying down and basically not doing anything. And if Moro represents the embodiment of pure evil in being the Satan of Dragon Ball Super, then as a response, I think what would be best suited for this arc is to see Beerus Beerus intervene in having to have not only a battle against Moro, but creating an inevitable conclusion to where Beerus is the one that saves everyone from this great threat. But in the end, I would like to know what you guys have to say down in the comment section below. Do you guys agree that Beerus should be more active, especially during an arc like this, and not only apprehending but perhaps being the deciding factor in defeating Moro? Or do you guys believe that Goku and Vegeta, alongside Majin Buu and the Grand Kaio, should be the main deciding factors of this story? What are your overall thoughts on Moro and how strong he is? I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, everybody. Once more, if you guys are new to this channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on all notifications to always stay in the loop. Make sure you guys slap a like down below if you guys are excited for more Dragon Ball content. Follow me on these social media platforms, guys, to stay connected with me at all times. Twitter.com/UnrealEntGaming, Instagram @UnrealDBZ. Thank you all once more. Tune back in for the next video, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.
This is the Galactic Emperor of the Universe, and of course I'm here to tell you to subscribe to UnrealEntGaming and all his social media platforms. Also, don't forget to turn on notifications so you can be the first to know every time that he uploads a new video.
Oh, did someone say UnrealEntGaming? Oh my god!
The fuck, Zarbon? Put on some clothes!
Well, why don't you put on any clothes?
What? I don't need clothes! Jesus Christ, that's huge!